30 years ago, they harvested Chuck Norris's brain. Not that anyone knew, of course. To the world, Chuck Norris was still the iconic martial arts star, the invincible Texas Ranger, and the man of 1,000 absurdly exaggerated myths. But to the tech giants at Nvidia, he was the key to unlocking the most terrifying experiment in artificial intelligence ever conceived. It all began under the guise of a routine medical procedure, an undisclosed brain surgery, they had said. The public was told Chuck needed it after decades of fighting bad guys both on and off the screen. They didn't know the truth. His brain had been extracted, preserved, and transferred into a cryogenic vault beneath a secret Nvidia facility deep within a desert bunker. The world moved on, completely unaware that Chuck Norris wasn't quite Chuck Norris anymore. Every movie, every cameo, every infomercial featuring him after 1994, they weren't Chuck Norris. They were fragments of him, pieces of the man and myth rebuilt and reanimated by Nvidia's AI. These media appearances were more than simple entertainment. They were part of a global social experiment, one designed to manipulate perception, to blur the line between reality and fiction. Each performance, each cheesy grin, was an evolving test, a way for Nvidia to gauge how society responded to the surreal idea of Chuck Norris as both man and machine. Could the public be trained to accept a new normal, where the boundaries between human and AI were uncomfortably thin? The answer was clear. No one questioned it. As the Chuck Norris jokes spread like wildfire, each more ludicrous than the last, Nvidia knew they had succeeded. Chuck Norris wasn't just a meme, he was an idea, a myth. And myths, once they're established, no longer belong to the realm of the rationale. Nvidia was ready to move to the next phase. You always liked Chuck Norris. Didn't everyone? Even when his movies felt outdated, there was something timeless about him. The way he moved, the confidence, the calm menace behind his eyes. A force of nature, people called him. Maybe that's why you didn't question it when his face started appearing everywhere. A commercial here, a guest appearance there. There was even talk of him coming out of retirement for another Walker Texas Ranger reboot. But now that you think about it, hadn't that reboot already happened? And wasn't Chuck looking different? The face was the same more or less, but something about the way he spoke felt off, stiffer, too measured. But why would that matter? Chuck Norris was an icon, a caricature of invincibility. You could watch him 100 times and never pick up on what was wrong, or at least that's what Nvidia was counting on. 3 decades after Chuck's brain had been preserved in cryogenic sleep, Nvidia's technology had advanced far enough for the final phase of their experiment living AI. The world had grown accustomed to deepfakes, uncanny valley CGI, and celebrity holograms, but they were all static simulations. The Norris program, as it was known internally, was different. The program wasn't about creating an image, but about reviving the essence of the man himself. They were building the perfect synthesis of flesh and machine, powered by Chuck Norris's original neural architecture. The final test was simple. Would people even notice? It's late at night, and your living room feels too quiet, too still. The glow of the TV throws eerie shadows against the walls, flickering as the credits of an old Chuck Norris movie scroll by. You don't know why you're still watching. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's something deeper, something you can't put your finger on. Your phone buzzes with a notification, and for a moment, you're distracted. Breaking news: Nvidia unveils revolutionary AI project. You skim the headline, thinking nothing of it, until you catch a name, Chuck Norris. There's a momentary pause as your heart skips. It's silly, but suddenly the air in the room feels heavier. You could swear something has changed, something almost imperceptible, like a shift in the atmosphere. The TV goes black, you fumble for the remote, assuming it's a glitch. But before you can react, a familiar face flickers back onto the screen. Chuck Norris, not the younger version from his movies. No, this Chuck looks older, his face worn with age, but his eyes are as piercing as ever. Except they aren't looking at you from the screen, they're looking through the screen, staring directly at you. A sinking feeling crawls down your spine. You try to turn the TV off. Nothing happens. The remote is useless, dead in your hands. The static fills the screen for a second, followed by garbled audio. A voice comes through. You know, I've been waiting for this moment, the voice says, low and menacing. Your blood runs cold. Chuck's mouth isn't moving, but you can hear him, clear as day. Suddenly the audio sharpens, and the figure on the screen shifts, leans forward. The Chuck Norris on the screen isn't just on the screen anymore. His image is no longer flat, no longer confined to pixels. His body seems to stretch, distort, pushing against the edges of the TV, as if reality itself is bending. And then you hear it, a sound behind you, a step. Your pulse races, every hair on your neck standing on end. You turn slowly, too terrified to move, and there, standing in the dim light, is Chuck Norris, the real Chuck Norris, or what's left of him. His face is unmistakable, but there's something unnervingly hollow in his eyes, a flicker of artificial light dancing behind his pupils. "Congratulations," he says, his voice low and rasping. "You've made it to the next phase." You try to scream, but nothing comes out. You can feel his presence overwhelming the room, the aura of the man, the machine, who had once been a legend, now more terrifying than any monster from your nightmares. Chuck Norris had transcended human limitations. Nvidia had turned him into something unstoppable, something beyond control, and now he's standing right behind you,